Alright, so we have already designed our Mona Lisas, our Wacky Monas, and they're on a grid. Now we're going to make our grid to transfer it to. So this grid, I'm going to measure this. This has 1/2 inch spaces on each one. Each one of these squares is a 1/2 inch. So on this one, we're going to make this. It's 8 inches wide. We're going to make that 8 inches wide. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 inches tall. So just very quickly make sure that your paper is at least 18 inches wide and 14 inches tall. My ruler is 12 inches, so I'm going to mark there and then see how much space I've got left. Just under 14 inches, so we're cool. Okay, so now I'm going to use my ruler and my T-square, my tape, and a board. So you need to have this gessoed piece of paper. And you're going to feel it when you get your paper. I want you to feel it. You should be able to feel a difference between the ungessoed, which is painted, and the painted, which is gessoed side. So this one is ungessoed, unpainted. This side is gessoed and painted. You should be able to feel like the brush strokes in there. Okay, this is a T-square. The T-square, you need to make sure that you can see this T part of the square. This, it looks like an axe. It is not. It looks like you go, wah! No, that would be an automatic leave the room. It looks like you could like hacksaw somebody. That would be bad too, just so you know. Oh, it is also not a lifesaver or a sword. Wah, wah. No. Alright, so the way that this works is I'm going to start by marking my 1 inch, and I'm not going to mark it on both sides. I just need to mark it on one side. And this is 11 inches wide, so I'm going to come in about 1 inch, give myself some room on the edge there, and mark every inch for 8 inches across. Okay. Then I'm going to turn it this way and I'm going to mark every inch for 14 inches. The reason I don't have 1 through 14 vertically down the side of that paper is because when you're looking at this to transfer it, you'll look at one number and one letter and you'll come down, and so like 7G, that's what you draw in space 7G. Okay, so that's a little bit less. That's okay. I will make that work. Okay, then I'm going to make this square on this board. So your board is what you're going to tape it to. And you're going to take off a little bit of tape and put it on your clothes. Remember, the way to make expensive art tape is just to take a little bit of the adhesive off. So put it on your pants and your shirt, whatever. You don't need a whole lot of tape. Just make 4 little pieces. You really don't want to put too much on because that'll just make it, you don't want it to rip. Then this is how you use a T-square. This is square to this. So this is a right angle here. What you're going to do is lay this so it's touching. It has to touch the edge of your board. So it'll slide up and down. And then I'm going to match it up with the edge of my paper. And I'm going to make sure that that is straight on the edge of my paper. Then it's going to make all my lines straight. Now, the problem people run into is, look up here. If you have any negative space showing there, you're not going to have a straight line. You have to make sure that is flush, completely against the edge. So I'm going to just carefully tape all 4 corners. Okay. Now, if you slack on that part, if this paper's not on there straight, the whole thing's going to be difficult for you. Work smarter, not harder. This is really easy. Now I've already got my lines measured and marked. Now all I have to do is line up my T-square and go across, line it up, and make a line across. And make sure I get that as close to perfect as I can. Making sure that I don't move this part of my T-square here. Remember, that has to be flush against the edge. If it's not turning out straight, then the whole project is going to be off. So you need to make sure that you're very, very careful, keeping that T-square flush against the edge, making sure that your pencil is in the same position next to this clear piece of plastic when you make your line. If you sometimes push your pencil underneath and go, and sometimes push your pencil that way, then it won't be even. You want to just make sure it's consistent. The reason it's on your board instead of just on your table is because the tables are put together and you can't find an edge on all of your tables. So this makes it much easier. This board is just masonite board. I buy this from Home Depot or Lowe's, and I just have them cut the size I want. So if you're interested in having a board of your own, it's very, very inexpensive. Okay, now at the very bottom, I'm noticing, let's see what's going on here. Oh, there is glue on the edge of my board, so that's not making it straight. Oh, all right, let me check the other side of my board. The other side of my board feels straighter. All these little unexpected things you have to be thinking about. And now, that one's straight. Okay, I got it off on that last one. This line right here is not correct because there was something on the board. It's not a big deal. I'm just going to fix it. But I want to fix it now. I don't want to have to deal with it later. And one more line here. About there. Yep, those last two lines were crooked. So I straighten those out. Now, it's not erasing really well. I'm not going to worry about that because I know that this is the line and that's the line. So I'm going to go with those two. Now for my vertical lines, I think I'll go ahead and check the edge of my board first this time. Feels pretty straight this time. That's why we want to try to keep our boards as clean as possible. Getting paint and glue all over our stuff is not really a big deal. But these boards, we want to keep them flat because we use them as drawing surfaces. We also use them as for our T-squares. So it's not a big deal to make a mess. Just clean it up if you make one. Okay, so now I have 1-inch squares over the entire piece. And my last. Okay, so now I have a perfect grid. And I can tell by looking at it that my vertical and horizontal lines are the same. It's definitely a square. All of those are squares. So now I'm going to put my numbers on, and I'm going to put these top numbers really small so I can paint over those later because these are actually going to be in the frame. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then vertically, it's going to actually, like this here, this does not count. If it helps you to erase some of that out, that's fine. So these are part of your spaces. This is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. Now this last space, remember I said it was just a little bit shorter. It's a little teeny bit shorter than an inch. So I'm looking at this and I can tell, like, I'll probably cut off maybe about that much. It's not a big deal. It's not going to really make a difference. Okay. Now let's just check this real quick, just go over it real quick. These places where I did make a mistake, I'm just going to check those and see. Not quite right yet. It's still not quite right. Let's see, let me try that one again. So, flatten it out. Hanky dinky. A little bit closer. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so this is what you need to get completed today. Get your grid ready, and then tomorrow we will start transferring your picture.